I would have done it.
Down and give me 20.
Tell me when. I am a recovering alcoholic network marketer. Do you still want to have a cup of coffee? That's a pretty cool cup.
Oh, that's what it says on the cup?
Yes,
That's great.
because I never get invited anywhere.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Pete Vargas. I still have yet to talk to him on the phone.
I can make that happen.
That would help me. And hello, everybody. It is Tom Chenault, and it is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. And I'm so excited that I was getting ready to sit in here, and Adrian goes, Tom, Dad, sit down. I go, no. He goes, why? I go, I'm too excited. I'm too nervous. And they said, why? I said, what? Why? Ray Higdon? Why wouldn't you be nervous? Why wouldn't you be scared out of your wits? This is the man. And he's just written this phenomenal book, Time, Money, Freedom. You've got to buy it. So that'll come later. We're going to sell the crud out of it today because I am telling you what, Higdon found a publisher, which is nobody does that. Everybody self-publishes unless you're a big shot. So he probably got like $1 million to write this thing, and it was a bargain, whatever they paid, because the guy is all of it in a bag of chips. You ever been more excited in your life, Paco?
No, this is awesome. I'm so happy we're here.
Yeah, this is so fun. So Ray Higdon, how are you, my friend?
I'm excited. Thank you for having me on. Always a good time to be with the handsome Tom Chenault and the Adrian master of contact mapping. So I got both handsome and contact mapping in. My very first line, I think you guys owe me money or something. I think
we can just
We're
go
done.
home now.
Okay, that's good. Let's take
And
a
Finn,
commercial
thanks for
break.
having me.
So anyway, so Ray, how's it been going? We're in the middle of COVID, and as I read your book, I realized.
Did you finish the book?
Yes.
You didn't finish the book. Come on, stop it.
Oh, you listen to me. Holy mackerel, Ray. What do you think? I am an amateur? So listen to me about this. Everybody stay here for a second. Ray Higdon's written a book that he started in early 2020, having no idea that COVID was going to come along. Hay House had no idea COVID was going to come along. This is the most important book you're ever going to read because it was written right into what's happening right now. And everybody is, I don't care what they do for a living. I don't care if they got a restaurant, a franchise, a job. They're going, what am I going to do if this gets worse? And if you want to know what you're going to do if this gets worse, you need to buy this book because this is a roadmap out of the jackpot. And more importantly than that, there's a chapter about it, a roadmap out of the fear. Because you don't need to be afraid. You just probably need to pivot a little bit. And that's the essence of what's going on. Usually in this show, what we do is we shoot the bull for a while until we get to the crux of the matter, which is the book. But we don't have time to do that today. This book's that important. So Ray, congratulations to you and Jess for writing it. And what was it that made you do it? Divine inspiration that you just said, man, we have to write something that's going to be relevant right now. What happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're 100% right in that we started this process, before COVID, before all these, different things. And, for us, we're really driven by impacting more people. And that, sometimes you hear that and it really means making a lot of money. And yes, we want to make a lot of money too. And we talk about money mindset in the book, but it's like, okay, how could we really impact a lot of people? And so we put together, and it's actually the subheadline of the book, 10 simple rules to redefine what's possible to radically reshape your life. And so this is for someone who wants to improve their finances and or their relationships. That's really who it's for. And so this is unlike some of our other books. We have our network marketing leadership book. We have our social media for network marketing book. Those are very specific, strategic, solves this problem. This is really how to take your life to the level that you deserve, how to take your life to, a life that you're really proud of, that makes you feel good, that you wake up in the morning and you're excited to live out and maybe get away from, some of the not so desirable areas of your life.
So most of you after watching the Eric Worre interview, know that I have a secret crush on Pete Vargas. And the way that Pete Vargas hit my radar was because of Ray Higdon. So one time, Ray Higdon was in town to meet with Pete Vargas for like a week, like an important thing. And that was beautiful. But he's down in this hotel far away from my house. And I go, I live just down the road. You have to come down to my house. He goes, well, yeah, he doesn't want to come. So I go, no, it's
come
just
on.
distance. So this is true. So then the poor guy gets in my car and we start driving, and he didn't realize like we were far away from my house. But now I had him trapped. So the poor guy was a hostage in my car all the way down the road for hours, and he's like ready to kill himself. But I got to know about Vargas, who I fell in love with because he looks like my older brother. I said that earlier. But I also got to know the essence and the heart and the soul and the mission and the legacy of Ray Higdon, which is why God had that all go together that way. Because it was, I mean, I'm driving a Tesla. And it's automatic, you know. You're supposed to be able to drive it on autopilot and not kill anybody. But I'm such an idiot ADD guy that poor Ray was like grabbing the wheel while it was on autopilot, because I was still like almost killing people all the way, and we're driving along like at 500 miles an hour. It was so fun, but he was freaked out, but he was so polite because I'm so much older that he didn't want to say, Tom, you don't even know how to drive this car. But I am telling you guys, this is a good man who cares about the little guy at a level I can't believe. Talk about that a little bit, Ray, because that's the person out there that is drowning, that is scared, that feels hopeless and directionless. And your book and you are the ticket to get out of there. So would you talk about that a little?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I always identify with the underdog, with the little guy, because that was me. I didn't grow up with a great childhood. I was abused and, physically abused up until the age of 12. I've been through a lot of not great times, been dead broke, been in foreclosure, been the one that just wasn't sure what life was going to turn out to be, because I've been through different bouts of depression, different bouts of addiction. And, so I really root for the little guy, for the person that's trying, for the person that wants to show up. And that's where the crux of our teaching comes from as well. As far as when we work with leaders, it's not just to activate the 5%ers or activate the people that are hard charging, already, alpha dogs, but to help out the masses, the people that need some hope, the people that constantly say, why bother? Because they just don't believe they can make it happen. And so in the book, we break down some different things that no matter where you are, whether you're, financially in trouble, like I was not that long ago, whether you've been through trauma, whether you've been through abuse, this gives you a roadmap of how to get out of that and how to start moving toward the life that you really want to live. And so we're really excited about that. And we've been getting some it's 1 week old today. It came out last Tuesday. And so we're really excited with the feedback we're getting.
Congratulations, by the way, on the launch. I mean, just the number of people who I really respect who are getting behind this book, who have been touched by it already, and watching it sail up the charts all over the place. It's been really cool to see, and I know it's it's an expression of the buy-in that you have from so many people. I think that they knew how great it was going to be, but people are just loving this book, and so it's fun to see that. Congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's three main concepts that we hope people get out of this book. One is that regardless of your past, you can have an amazing life. Number two is, what you've gone through, what you've survived can be inspiring to others who have gone through that same thing or are going through that same thing. And number three is that with more money, you can do more good. And I think that that's an important one, because that's not what you're led to believe from the media, from Hollywood, from politicians. You're led to believe that, more money, bad. And it just, all it is a magnifier. If you're someone that likes to do good, you can do more good impact. You can only donate so much of your time. At the end of the day, we have to work, we got to pay bills. And although donation of time is fantastic, and if that serves you and is fulfilling, then definitely do that. I'm on, 2 different charity boards, and I get enjoyment from it. So I like it. I can only donate so much of that time though. But if I make more money, if you make more money, you're able to, put money into those abuse centers or those schools or water wells or whatever it is, programs that are taught in inner city to really help the problems. And so those are the really three main concepts that we hope come across in the book.
Tithing your time or tithing your money or tithing both is critically important. And as you tithe your time, because you don't have money, you see the people that are throwing money at things that don't solve it. And you realize that, man alive, if I had some money, I could solve this problem. But never forget to tithe that time.
Sure.
Being on two boards like that, my whole life is given toward alcohol and drug recovery. So I think, and I tithe a lot of money out there, but I think I tithe far more in time, because I am telling you what, we are so alone out here. And we don't feel loved, we don't feel safe, we don't feel like we can trust anything, and we don't feel like we belong. And what Ray's done is written a book that gives you that, and he talks a lot about reframing your story. And his story about being a little boy who had to go to school with a bloody nose and the various things that happened to him, and all of a sudden changing that story and not making that hold him down, but it actually now lifts him up, and that story's lifting up a lot of people. All of you have that same kind of story if you just know how to frame it that way, right, Adrian?
Yeah, your story is so much your strength. And, it's easy. It's so easy to be in this place of, I've got a checkered past. I've got a difficult upbringing. I've never had any success in my life. Like you could paint yourself into the most negative possible light. Every single one of us, no matter how successful in the world's eyes we are or not, can do that. But equally, no matter how much success you think you have achieved, you have a great story inside you. You just have to believe it in order to get it there. And it's amazing how the exact same set of circumstances, you get to have a choice about the sort of story and the framing that you're going to put around that for yourself. And then that projects outwards to others. And if you've got a terrible story that you're telling yourself about who you are, how are you ever going to get people to follow you if you don't believe you're worth following, right?
For sure. And it'll be misconstrued. I had a real social anxiety, and I didn't know why. I wasn't sure why, but I would go and rock it out on the stage. And this is recent. We're talking the last year. I would rock it out on the stage and people, oh, that was great. But if you wanted to have a conversation with me afterward, I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't know why. I'd go hide in my room. And people would take that as, oh, he thinks he's better than me, or, oh, he's big time in me. No, it's because I was worried about being hurt. Because in third grade, I confided in a guidance counselor, told her all about my abuse, and she didn't believe me and told my parents what I told her because she thought it was for attention. And that was the day that I stopped trusting anybody. That's the day I stopped, I can, smile and be nice to people, but that's the day I stopped letting anyone in. It wasn't until I realized that I was able to have better relationships. And that was recent last year.
Wow.
That makes me cry. And almost everybody has that story. And the minute that you let that story into the light, it dissipates.
Right.
And find people that you can love, that you can trust, that are going to hear it and keep you safe.
Right.
And I believe that RankMakers and what Ray's doing does that. We're on the Genesis Communication Network. This is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. Thank you, Ted Anderson, for keeping us on the air all these years. You're crazy, and we love you for that. We'll be back right after this with Ray Higdon. Back at it, baby.
Done. That was great, and yeah, it's just these stories. I don't want to go too far down that track because I want to bring it back there when we come back from the break. But wow, that's amazing, important stuff. And it's just so interesting the way these things kind of weave together. So with contact mapping, we just did a workshop 2 weekends ago called The Foundations of Authentic Connection. And we took a small group of people through a process of looking at their story and looking at where is it that you have breakdowns around love, around trust, around safety, and around belonging in your life. And so many, each person had some, their own version of that third grade story that showed up somewhere in their life and that had this echo through everything that has happened for them since that time. And we got to go through this process together of going, okay, let's put that in the light, and then let's figure out how you get to move on, and you get to have a different outlook on what it is that happened to you in the past and where it is that you're going in the future. And just the most incredible transformations, and the most incredible, you just see people literally look 10, 20 years younger in the course of a weekend, right? I mean, it was remarkable to watch the weight come off of people's shoulders. And so it was just incredibly gratifying, and I'm so thankful that you are, we're touching such a comparatively small number of lives with contact mapping compared to this platform that you've built. And I just love that you are using that platform and that reach that you have to try to help as many people as possible to discover that power for themselves. It's really important stuff.
I love it that you're doing that. I love it that, so many people are just selling their widget when the widget doesn't fucking matter. And we're on the air anymore, but the widget doesn't matter. It's their head that matters. It's their heart that matters. It's what's preventing them from using the widget that matters. And so, I love it that you're doing that. More people need to embrace that instead of just be strategy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's, with all these things, right? It's the same thing with RankMakers, right? You sign up for RankMakers does not mean that you are suddenly going to start rank advancing if you don't actually show up in the community, if you don't take the action steps, if you don't do the thing. If you put an app in somebody's hand, it could be the greatest app that's ever been made. But if you don't actually reach out to people and build relationships and put stuff in there and actually do it when it says, hey, call Ray today, then nothing, like if you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. That's the theme of everything. But often you not doing it is not because you're lazy. You not doing it is because you've got something going on between your ears that is keeping you in this pattern that doesn't serve you, or there's something about staying in this pattern of not going anywhere that is serving you, that you've got to wake up to the fact that you're allowing yourself to stay at this level because people will give you pity or whatever it is. And if you can get that out of the way, now you have an ability to move forward, right?
Yeah, and this whole course was a merger between Alcoholics Anonymous, the Landmark Forum, and multi-level marketing. Yeah. And what we basically did was just wrap that in a bow, because you do all this stuff and you do all this hard work, but if it doesn't end up creating results, you're just wasting time. And what we want you to all get is that is not what we're about. We want you to have breakthroughs at a level you've never had them before in every area of your life. Contact mapping is just a tiny piece of that, but it is the start of something gigantic. Then we turn you over to the Ray Higdons of the world.
Totally. So go to contactmapping.com/free. Just take a look at what we're up to, and we're coming right back.
And it is Tom Chenault, and it's the Network Marketing Leadership Show with Ray Higdon, Adrian Chenault.
So we weren't just chit-chatting.
No, we keep it moving, man. The show is on live, and it is on fire. And we've got Ray Higdon with us today. And if you haven't been to www, which you don't need, higdongroup.com/free stuff. What is
bonuses?
It? Bonuses. I knew it.
Close.
higdongroup.com/bonuses. Go there right now, because I'm telling you what you're going to get from him, about him, through him is going to change your life. And he's got these pages all the time. And I constantly go in to the page that is about the tracker. And I want to see these people that posted their tracking of what they actually did. And I always comment on that, because seeing people actually taking the work and putting it to work instead of just watching network marketing like it's a football game on TV is what I'm all about. And what you've done is put those people into action. And I'm so proud. And you every day you do these videos and like 1,000 people show up for it. It blows my mind. And you're just a magician, Ray. And your wife, Jessica, Ray's one thing, and I don't want to try to describe him, but then here comes Jessica, and she's got equal skills at a completely different level, vibe, and place. And she has an access to money and money management and empathy that Ray couldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. And together, these guys are just something.
It is really cool. And I should have checked this beforehand, but so you and Jessica co-authored this book. That's the first time you guys have done that. Is that right?
We co-authored the social media book.
You did.
Yeah, so I wrote the leadership. We co-authored the social media one, and this one we co-authored. This is, I mean, it's just a different animal. I mean, the social media is strategy, scripts,
Yeah.
that which is needed. This
Yeah.
is more of our story of overcoming obstacles, trauma. How both of us left jobs to be full-time, entrepreneurs, and what we did to to craft the life that we lead now.
Absolutely. And it's neat. I have known your story more just through following what you've been doing for a long time, but both through the book and actually Jessica's told the most beautiful story at RankMakers Live about, the approval of her dad, who she respected so much, and having to give that up to move into network marketing and, really like having that moment of like, he in love, trying to protect her, but really cut her knees out from under her right when she was about to get started, and her having to choose, do I follow him and do I go back to playing it smaller or playing it more traditional, or do I move out into the world? And that was just such an incredible story. And I think something that we all identify with is, I think network marketing, so many of us, whatever we had along the way, we got some sort of impression from somebody that network marketing was bad or it was dirty or it wasn't, it was something that it really isn't when you actually look at what it is and on the face of it, how it can be done the right way. And that was just, I really appreciated and identified with that story because I think it's something that we all, that belief in the profession and that sort of willingness to say, I'm going to do it anyway, no matter, even if somebody doesn't approve. That's, it's so necessary if you're going to do anything big in life to be able to overcome that kind of disapproval, right?
Yeah, for sure. And to Tom's point earlier, I mean, if you're for the little guy, then network marketing is amazing. Because it's the lowest risk, lowest overhead way for the average ordinary person to start a business. And so, she did get flack from her family and specifically from her dad. When she hit 10,000 a month, her two brothers signed up, her mother signed up, and her dad drew her a spreadsheet. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, when your parents tell you or anybody tells you that you shouldn't do network marketing, it isn't because they believe you shouldn't do network marketing. It's because they love you so much they don't want you to get hurt.
Right.
And hear it from there. Reframe that statement because they're scared for you and they don't understand it. And they heard it was a pyramid scheme from the guy down the street at the coffee shop. So they came home and told you. And it isn't because they don't love you. It's because they do love you that they're trying to protect you. But at the end of the day, all of it, your success is going to end all that fear. And that's all that boils down to it. And the tools that you're selling and speaking, Ray, will get people to the other side of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the big things in here is we talk about seeking acceptance, approval, and agreement, and how every awesome thing in my life, I didn't have acceptance, approval, or agreement. No one agreed with me leaving my 7-year career or leaving my benefits. Everyone thought that was a bad idea, but I never would have created freedom with with that job or with that career. My boss and his boss and her boss were all more stressed out, making more money than me, but more stressed out, working harder, seeing their family less, more turmoil, and that was going to be where I would end up too, unless I went against the grain.
We got to take another break. Then we go to a long segment. Richard, Brooke, if you're watching, get ready to buy some nice survivalist stuff. We're on the Genesis Communication Network, and we really appreciate you watching and listening to the great Ray Higdon. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Did it, baby.
We did it. Good job. All right, so I have been so excited for this book for many reasons, but the most exciting reason I think is it 161? Am I right? All right, hold on. So I'm just going to flip here to 161, and I'm just going to read. This is my favorite excerpt from the whole book. Contact mapping is a great app designed to really take your connections, follow-up, and organization around your network to the next level.
That's actually only in the version I sent you guys.
Yeah, I know. We wondered why it was in pencil, but here's the
Imagine you do that to a bunch of vendors and they're like, wow, this is amazing. Just kidding. I agree with it 100%, obviously.
I know like all the big leaders, and 99% of them way more than that. 99.5 of them have a terrible relationship to follow up and time. Ray Higdon, on the other side, is one of the most meticulous guys to his word I do business with. And he and I have many things in common. A couple of them I can talk about. Most of them I can talk about. A couple I won't. But I'm going to tell you one thing right now. He loved Atlas Shrugged, the book. He's done the Landmark Forum. He had a crazy, crazy, crazy earlier life. And this guy is absolutely on the other side of compromising all the time. He doesn't believe in it. He says he's going to call you. He's called me 1 minute after I was supposed to talk to him and said, do we need to reschedule this? Because I was a minute late. And that was something I was committed not to be. And I'm just in love with him. He epitomizes what we kind of automate for you. So take it away.
Yeah, so truly, I want to just say an incredible thank you to you. And when you shared the news with me that you were giving us a shout out in the book, several months ago, I could not be more honored, and we're just so thankful to be your friend. And so, first, I just want to say that, and I ordered it from Amazon, so I know that this one is for
this house.
Actually, yeah, and actually, the one that you sent to my house still hasn't shown. So you asked me if I read this in time. This has been here because Adrian ordered it on Amazon, so I was able to read it. But the one that my house still isn't here, I would have been flying blind, and you would have been correct. Who knows what happened? They probably, that the mailman is a bad guy in my neighborhood, but he might have stolen the book. He stole the book. Yeah. That's exciting. So anyway, whatever it was, I'm so happy to have it. And when I saw it here, I read it. That's how I was able to read it in time. Awesome. I can tell behind your eyes you didn't believe that I had. So take it away, Adrian.
Now I do.
Thank you.
Phew. All right, good.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
no, hit it. No, never mind. I was going to make another terrible joke. Go ahead.
All right. So anyway, thank you for including us. Yeah. And I just would love you to talk about, because you've got some tools in here, and what is it that you're trying to get people to do when it comes to follow up, and why is that so important?
Yeah, I mean, follow up is just so important in anything that you do. Most things just don't happen on the first interaction, whether it's sales, whether it's a relationship, whether it's really anything. And so follow-up is so important. You can be bad at sales, but good at follow-up and do just fine. Bad follow-up, better than no follow-up. And, as you guys know, and in fact, this is a funny story, but the next version of this book, the foreword, is actually by Grant Cardone. He didn't get it to us in time, so it wasn't in the first run. But I spent time with his sales machine, right? His sales organization. And, these are guys that are hardcore. Every day they have to study his training on sales and closing. And I asked their sales manager, I said, well, how much percentage wise do you close on the first, connection? 2%. So this world-class sales organization, probably doing, definitely doing over $100 million in sales. 98% of their income comes from follow-up. And so why should others be different? And so follow-up is just so important for every area of your life, whether it's gathering donations, whether it's selling or raising money, whatever.
Yeah, 100%. And that's such that blows me away every time I hear that about Cardone's organization. But it's because it's human nature that we need we need those nudges. And I think getting out of that headspace of I'm bothering people and into the headspace of I'm helping them because they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off, just like I am, that when you start allowing it to reside there and their story and can have fun with it, things start to change. So go check out contactmapping.com/free, and we are coming back to the main show.
That quick? All right, we're back. It's Tom Chenault. It's the Network Marketing Leadership Show. I have a heck of a time saying that. I don't even like the name. I like the name, the Tom Chenault Show, better because I can remember it at this advanced age. But
ring
what
to
do
it.
I know? It's just easier. But we've got Ray Higdon with us, and holy mackerel, what an honest, authentic, vulnerable, whatever the word is, guy. Yep. Ray, how important is it to lose the facade of hip, slick, and cool and just getting real with people? Your first chapter of your book, I can't remember what the title of it is basically you got to have the gift of desperation. You got to dump all that noise and just realize that you got to put it at stake and be all in, and stop being like this secret agent in the world. Yeah, get upset. That's what it is. The gift of desperation. Same deal. How important is it to just like plant a flag that you are going to be in charge of your own destiny and go after it? Like critical, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the quotes that embodies this I heard from Oprah Winfrey, and that's life is not a dress rehearsal. There's a lot of people that just kind of tumble through life, and life just happens for them. And so whatever happens, happens. What can you do? And then they die. And it's like, you have the DNA and the blood of Alexander the Great. You have, power flowing through your veins. You could literally do anything on the planet. What will your great grandchildren say about you? What can you do? And when we get into making an impact and we talk about turn your why into an actual vision, that's so important if you really want to tap into your potential. And I really I just believe that everyone has unlimited potential within them. They can accomplish anything that they want and live a fulfilling life regardless of what's happened in the past. And so I just think it's very powerful. And you mentioned the hip, how important is it to not just be the hip slick, what's the other term I've heard, big time, whatever.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I thought I knew I thought I knew the first big thing that changed my life, but upon examination, it wasn't what I thought. So when I got serious about network marketing, I had reconnected with my dad after not talking to him for 13 years. And that created, an opening in my life that was now different. When I let go of some of the baggage of the anger, the resentment, the hatred, when I let go of some of that, it created a new opening in my life. And I thought that was what actually has made me so, consistent, or whatever you want to call it, lunatic, whatever. And that actually wasn't. It was me sharing that story. Because the first time I shared that story, I was doing a training up in Myrtle Beach, and I'd been asked to come up there and do a opportunity meeting when I was building a team. And something just, my heart just said, share that story. I'd never shared that story because I was too busy looking like Superman and looking, hip and whatever those other words were. And so I wanted to look perfect and awesome and Superman. And when I shared that story afterwards, Kenneth, the person who invited me to come up there, he's walking down the aisle after I share my story of reconnecting with my dad after not seeing him for 13 years. He walks down the aisle, tears streaming down his face. And he said, I can't believe you just shared that story. I haven't talked to my dad in 17 years. Tomorrow, I fly out for his funeral.
Oh,
And so I heard that, and my initial reaction, probably like many people, is I beat myself up. And I thought, you know what? I was on a webinar with him last week. If only I'd mentioned it, maybe he would have reconnected. The second reaction was, I need to be more vulnerable and I need to be willing to share this story. And so that was 2010, maybe. I've probably shared that story hundreds of times, if not 1,000 times. And I have so many emails and letters and messages of people who've reconnected with, their dad, their mom, their sister, their brother. In fact, I have 2 instances of people who reconnected with their dad. Both of them happen to be a dad. They reconnected with their dad. Shortly after reconnecting, the dad died. And so literally they heard that story in perfect timing before it was too late.
Yeah.
And so, the whole, let me be the polished, let me be the performer, right? That's great, do that. But if you really want to impact people, let them relate with you by you being vulnerable, you laying down, like Brene Brown says, you lay down your armor, you lay down your swords, and you bear, what's going on, you bear reality. And that's what people, I think, are seeking right now, is they're seeking what's real, because we know the media isn't real. We know politicians aren't real. We know that these things that we've had in our mind that we thought were out for our benefit, we've learned that they're not. And so it's like people are searching for what's real. What can I believe in anymore? And, we understand pain. We understand, people that have been through stuff like us.
I think I haven't seen you for a while. I think your reality show
Hmm.
did a whole lot more for your vulnerability and your authenticity and your empathy than you even might know it did. Because the man that I'm looking at right now is a different guy that I
Hmm.
looked eyeball to eyeball with. You have got a depth of compassion that was not there the last time. And I watched your reality show and I watched those people grind through it and I watched you and Jess dive into their lives
Hmm.
and help those people step outside of what was into what is and what can be. And I just want to thank you for that. I think it helped them, but I really think it helped you. That makes sense, I hope.
A- Absolutely. I had, I mean, I knew, obviously, I know I've been through some stuff, and I know that other people been through some stuff, but, and we didn't plan it this way. It's not like we didn't ask on the reality show application, have you been through abuse, right? Like that'd be a weird question, but almost everyone had. And I'll tell you one person that, many did, but one person that really stands out as inspiring me is Renee Adams. Renee Adams was in our season 1,
Yeah.
and she had never shared this with anyone, never shared her story, but she had been through sexual abuse, physical abuse, and human trafficking. She'd actually been trafficked, and she had never shared that whole life. And so, whatever we created on the show opened her up and cracked the shell, and she shared. And I told her, like I've told so many people, that, hey, your story could be inspiring. You survived that. There could be people out there that are right on the edge of not making it, that you could inspire. And, just to awesomeness. Within 2 weeks, she's speaking at an abuse center.
Wow.
About 2 months ago, she spoke at the 17th annual International Human Trafficking Conference in front of 19 countries. She shared her story. And so that's a warrior, that's a soldier, that's someone who is a hope engineer, that's someone that's, going out there and getting people to understand how bad an issue is, such as human trafficking, but also inspiring all those who've been affected by it. And so she'll always have a special place in my heart there. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the reality show.
And you talk about Brene Brown a minute ago, and she says everybody has a story that will bring you to your knees if you'll just take the time to listen and get out of the soundbite mode and actually be interested in the answer to that great question that you asked. My wife's a huge Brene Brown. I mean, well, my wife's on all kinds of that personal development stuff. She's a beast. But that Brene Brown, I'm telling you what, she has got
She's
it going.
amazing.
And any of you that have a chance, plug into her, because she'll get you down to ground zero so you can finally start coming out. But yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, Ray, you've made a difference. I can't wait for the next edition. So yeah, I'm a reality show fan. So thank you for
I
that
appreciate
too.
it.
Everything Ray Higdon.
It's all good, man. So you talked about this kind of at the beginning of this segment, and I think it ties together a little bit. So you talked about, having a why versus having a vision. And I was watching, you guys did such an incredible like full day launch event for the book that was so cool. And,
5
and you were
hours.
I know you were talking about that. And, I just want to contrast this, right? Of, Ray, his experience sharing his dad's story, his story with his dad in that personal experience. And, you might have this why of, I want to help people, or I want to do whatever, I want to create a different, maybe your why is I want to create a different life for my kids than the life I had growing up. And that's an amazing why. But when you take that and you go, okay, how can I have a vision and be on a mission? And part of that is that vulnerability. So just talk about what that distinction is between a why and a vision, and why shifting that is so important.
Yeah. So, for years, I feel like network marketing may have been the pioneer of the why. You got to have a why. You got to have a why that makes you cry. And so, somewhere some master taught that, and then it got filtered, and it got filtered, and it got filtered, and it got filtered, and now it's just a one-liner. I want to retire my spouse. I want to help kids. I want, you know what I mean? And so why is now a watered down thing that typically someone will say, and they'll get appreciation, attention from others. So it's been made too cheaply now. And so, I know people that have had the same why for 9 years, they haven't progressed. And so, a vision is, who do you want to become? Now, if you can say, these are the things which could be a whole bunch of whys, right? You may have a whole bunch of whys: abuse centers, water wells, schools, whatever floats your boat. A vision is, who do I want to become? That's different. That's more internally owned than some commercial, digestible thing that I say this thing and people say, oh yes, that's great, even if I haven't accomplished it. And
Right.
so in the, one of the rules is turn your why into a vision. And it really shows you how to grow into that person you truly want to be, which will help you accomplish all those important things for you.
I think that's such a big deal. And, I think the bigger, the original version of the why that maybe connects more with what you're talking about with a vision, it truly is like, it has to be bigger than you. It has to like compel you forward, that like, God, if I'm not taking action, like more orphans are going to die in the orphanage. Like, okay, maybe I should call, maybe I should actually, not say, oh, I don't feel like it today, and not message people. Maybe
Right.
like if orphans are on the line here, or whatever it is for you that like fires your soul, that's going to move you forward. And so pick up this book and get yourself into that, where if you've been telling yourself the same story over and over again and nothing's really happening, like this is how you shift yourself into like, oh shoot, if I don't do something today, like we're taking backward steps instead of progress steps towards this vision of a world that I'm trying to create.
All right, guess what? We get to take another commercial. But right now, go to higdongroup.com/bonuses. Go do that. Go buy this book. Take a picture of the book and post it, because Ray Higdon pays attention to that stuff. We're coming back right after this. It's the Network Marketing and Leadership Show on the Genesis Communication Network.
Good job. I just realized we don't have the thing. We used to have a paper that said the Network Marketing Leadership Show so that he could remind himself, and we lost that paper. We got to get that paper
Somebody
back,
stole
man.
it.
You're doing a good
I
job.
know, and I'm feeling pretty good about that.
So, Ray, one of the things
Sean
that...
Murphy, thank you for all your comments. You're
Yeah,
a
he's
beautiful man.
unbelievable.
Good
Love-
fan of the show.
Again.
Sean's the greatest. Taylor Worre's hanging out here. He's been commenting all over the place here. Just such great people here. Hello, Victor, Jeff Weisberg. Okay, not all great people. He and I were just talking. So anyways, so awesome. Ray, you have...
Cadillac.
Oh my gosh.
Cadillac. Because of you, a lot of things. This guy did some brave stuff
Awesome.
to fight to get his life back. And you've had a lot to do with that. Chad Williams, shout out. Ray Higdon actually named him Cadillac. Really a beautiful thing. And he's one of our favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
He's in Indiana now. And thank God. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, yeah.
That's true.
It's
You gave him permission to be Cadillac.
Yeah,
and that
you
was
did.
pretty cool.
Yeah, cool news. All right.
So, Ray, you have probably the most impeccable habits of anyone that I have ever met.
Yeah.
And how the hell do you do it? And why is it so important that people build great habits?
Yeah. So, I think it's just your association with the habits. And so, take follow-up. One of the stories that I've shared is, people, they'll always say, I'm terrible at follow-up. I'm no good at follow-up, and, whatever. And so, the scenario goes, if there was a family on your street and the mother got laid off, dad got killed by a bus, unfortunately, 4 children at home, and you decide to do a fundraiser and you had 150 people say that they would give some money to the fundraiser, how many would you follow up with? 100%, no question.
Yeah.
Because you associate gain, you associate feeling good with that follow-up. So you need to figure that out with your habits. So every morning, as goofy as this sounds, I log into my Facebook account and I send a happy birthday message. That's me. That's not someone else. I send every single day. I go through my list of friends. I send a little happy birthday message. If there's a memory of us, I'll take a little snapshot and send a snapshot of a picture of us. And because I associate that with, that is a step of me putting something positive into someone's life that they may need. And does it lead to something? I don't know. but I just see that as part of a set of important things to do. I do a video a day because I don't know who's going to catch that video that day. They may really need it. And so I just draw importance around the action steps and the things that I do. Nothing's not important, or else, I just don't do it.
I just love that. And I got to share one other thing about you. So you may have noticed that Ray has this thing out there where you can text him. And so
that's beast.
He's
Love
a beast.
that thing.
I'm a lunatic.
So I messaged him because we were actually, it was perfect timing because we were already looking at this. And so I send him a message saying, hey, I noticed that you're using Community, which is this thing, and what's going on? How do you like it? And so he writes me back, and I was like, hey, can the team use it? Whatever, blah 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 blah. I'm assuming that he's got like an army of people because I cannot imagine the number of text messages that you get every day. And he goes, oh no, I respond to every single one of these things, and that's just who this guy is, and it makes a difference, right? Look at a guy who has achieved everything that absolutely doesn't have to do that and does. What's your excuse? That's my question for you. So thank you for hammering that. Thank you for being who you are. And it starts with creating those associations with great habits, producing great results for you. So we got to come back.
Contactmapping.com/free. All right. This is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. It's Tom Chenault. It's Adrian Chenault. And it's the final segment. This hour flew by again. It just makes me so mad when we have such a tremendous guest because we don't have the long. Okay, so you guys did not win the record for the longest book launch in history. Remember Taylor and Larry Thompson did when they put their book out, and Weisberg lied to me the whole show. So I get on there to watch him, and he kept saying, I'm coming right up. And I was on there for like 11 hours, and he finally got on for like 5 seconds, and I wanted to blow my brains out. So when you did your book launch, I thought you were trying to break the Guinness Book of Records for the length of book launch, but you only did 5 hours. But it was still absolutely unbelievable. And thank you. And the reason it took so long is because they had so many incredible people talking about how incredible Ray and Jess are. And they're 2 beautiful children, and just they let us live our life vicariously through them. And it is, I don't know if that made sense or not. It was amazing. So I love these guys. Final segment, what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about relationships because, so I threw this up last night. Ray posted this picture of him and Jessica that, was it for your her anniversary or the anniversary or birthday that you got the present for?
It was our anniversary, and I bought dance classes.
Yeah, so they got dance classes. So I posted on his Facebook
I would
wall.
kill myself if I got
Thank
that.
God my wife doesn't follow you on
Oh, my
Facebook
God.
because I would be divorced.
Are you actually going to do it?
We did one last night.
Do you like to dance?
Not really,
I would rather get, oh my God.
but she does.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm happy for her.
So, but you did, another thing you did recently is you guys had a really, frank and amazing conversation about what it takes to build a great relationship and a great marriage. And that fits into what's going on here. And so talk a little bit about the relationships dimension of what you guys talk about in Time, Money, Freedom, Ray.
Yeah. So there's probably the most feedback of the 10 rules that I've gotten is from rule number 2, pluck your weeds. And pluck your weeds, I think some people thought, sorry, you're hearing kids in the background here, but pluck your weeds, I think some people thought that only meant negative people in your life, just get them out of there, right? And that's not all it means. Pluck your weeds are, anywhere from me digging into my trust issues and asking why am I this way? Why do I run to my hotel room after I speak on stage and I'm scared to talk to anybody? What the hell's wrong with me? Right? That was a weed I had to pluck and dig into and figure out, that's what caused it. A weed could be when I just did my very first time doing public speaking. And this was when I worked for a county government. And it was so bad that my boss actually asked if I was on drugs. And afterwards, I remember sitting in the car in my Hyundai Sonata, forest green, and just sitting there with the steering wheel. And I'm just like, I'm just not going to come back. because I now look like an idiot. And now everyone knows how stupid I am. And so pluck your weeds was, hey, no, that's not congruent with who I want to be. I'm going to go to speech class. I'm going to go to Toastmasters. I'm going to get better at this. And so that really shows in relationships. So what conversations are you not having? What are things that, because the thing about resentment is it doesn't dissipate. It only grows and starts to impact other areas of your life. And pretty soon, because he didn't take out the trash means he doesn't love you. And pretty soon, because she didn't show up, she didn't come home on time, that now, is cheating on you or whatever. And that you just made up that entire story. And so plucking the weeds is what areas in my life are not congruent with who I want to be, with how I want to show up, and what is impacting me negatively. So one of the probably the biggest weed between Jess and I was we had different views on money. And so she would come into my office and say, oh, you know what, I was looking at the bank account and it's down a little bit. And that would send me into this thing that I created in my head that said I wasn't man enough because I wasn't taking care of her. And so I would work like crazy. I would get all stressed out. And then she'd come in and say, why are you working so hard? What's wrong? And I'm like, right? Thinking, well, she knows she triggered me. What the hell's, what do you mean? Why am I stressed out? You triggered this. Well, she didn't know that. And so you can let something like that completely destroy a relationship. But instead, by addressing it, by saying, hey, when you do this, this is how I feel. And then she came back with, well, I felt like I couldn't even talk to you about money. And so, looking at what are the incongruencies in your relationship, what are you, where is the resentment, and get that out of there, because it's going to negatively impact the relationship, and it doesn't have to.
Such a huge thing. And, like resentment and anger and these things, it's like, I love the analogy that it's like, you're drinking poison hoping the other person's going to die.
Right.
Like that's what those weeds, if you let those weeds keep growing, that's what you're doing to yourself. And it's just nuts, and yet we all do it. So it's nuts. And yet, there's absolutely weeds that are right over there that I need to go and pick. So, this is nobody on a high horse, but this is just the human condition. And it is a funny, crazy thing that we all live in. And the more we can create that awareness and do it, the more powerful. And I'm telling you,
I wish I would have read this book 8 marriages ago. That would have helped me so much. But this 9th one, this one with Denise, we are going to absolutely score because we read the book. We love you, Ray Higdon. We're going to be out of here. Stick around. We're going to keep it going for a couple minutes. They want to ask you some questions. This is the Network Marketing Leadership Show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Armin.
And we're done. But stick
that
around.
was
for a
awesome.
minute.
Yeah, thank you.
God, do people love you?
Aw.
Even though you said fuck the weeds.
I'm
So, pluck, everybody. I got like 20 text messages. He's got a speech impediment.
I pulled a Tom Chenault.
Yeah, that
It was
was good.
unbelievable. So cute.
I remember
Yep.
that event
was
where you
exciting.
said it. Yeah,
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
That was-
remember that? Yeah. Oh, I got in so much trouble. Vanessa Hunter went nuts on me.
yes, you did.
She just could not believe I did that.
That's only like that's like number 10 on your Freudian slips from stage as
There's
far as
no
I'm
problem
concerned.
with it.
So
Yeah, I'm so used to it. I don't even remember which one it was. But, Ray, from all your events to what you do for the world, it is crazy. And people just love you. And that is that simple. I told them to ask questions, but nobody's asked me one. So I just want to thank you again. How are they? Don't you love? So you're building a new house?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's-
We haven't officially started it yet, but we've got the plans, and we start the process next month.
Well, welcome to the world of this will never be finished. And it's exciting and fun. And Denise and I had an experience, a 3-year experience with getting the permits, 4 years experience. And we never had one fight with the builder or the architect over 4 years.
Wow.
So I will tell you that for us versus Eric Worre and Marina,
Yeah.
we had nothing but trouble.
Yeah.
It finally got it done, but it helped our marriage. It was the most beautiful process on earth.
Wow.
And so it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as you think it's going to be.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Congrats on the new book, Ray. Thanks so much for doing this
Thank
with us,
you.
man.
Hey, thanks for your support always. Appreciate you
Go
guys.
back to work. Get me Pete Vargas's phone number. I love you. See you later. Bye-bye, you guys.
Bye.
Have
Bye,
fun, you
guys.
guys. Bye-bye.
All right, we're out of here.
Sounds
was
good.
fun.
Thanks, bud.
Okay, so Adrian.